Hi guys, please like, share and subscribe. And if you want full course for any actuarial subject, visit theactuarialguy.com or WhatsApp on this number. Thank you. Let's talk about how would you apply this actuarial control cycle to a particular real world case study. Let's say you are launching a new annuity product as a company. So how would you implement actuarial control cycle in this problem? So the problem here which is specified is that a life insurer enters an annuity market for the first time. So far maybe they were selling assurance and endowment assurance sort of contracts, term assurance, endowment assurance, whole life assurance sort of contracts. Now they are entering the annuity market. Okay. The product is a without profit immediate annuity with enhanced rates for ill health, right? Which would mean that there is no profit sharing, there are no bonuses for the policyholder. That's what without profit means. Immediate means it's starting right now, and there is enhanced rates for ill health, right? So if someone is sick, because you expect them to die very early, you're willing to pay them a higher level of annuity, because anyway, see, for the same premium I'll pay you more because I don't have to pay you very long, right? If you're expected to live long, I'll be paying you for a very long time, so I won't give you a very high annuity level, I won't give you a very high sort of annual payment. But if you are in ill health, I will give you a enhanced rate, which is higher level of payment, right? Because you'll anyway die very soon, you're expected to die very soon. Customer pays a lump sum and they have a guaranteed income for the rest of their life. So this is a whole life annuity product, and higher level of annuity for ill health patients because their mortality is expected to be high. Payments start immediately and cease on death, and there is no surrender value, so you can't surrender it. Okay, so that is the idea. Think about it for a moment and then I'll get into the answer. You have to figure out how do you understand the environment, specify the problem, develop a solution, right? How do you perpetually do the monitoring, and how do you incorporate professionalism into this annuity product launch? Okay, so we need to start with setting the context, which is basically what is the commercial and economic environment you are operating in, right? One of the key details that the question mentions is that this is a new market for the company. It's entering the annuity market for the first time. So you don't have your own data on annuities. You would have your data relating to your assurance contracts, right, which you would have sold in the past, and you can take them as a benchmark. But the nature of customers who are taking assurances would be inherently different from the people who buy annuities, right? So you do not have your own data. You will have to study the competitor rates. What rates are they offering for a given level of premium for the annuities? You would have the standard mortality tables which are available in the industry that would set your context. So this is all a part of your commercial and economic environment. You would have to check the reinsurance terms that are available, so you do not end up taking excessive risk, and whether reinsurance is even feasible, and what reinsurance rates are, so that you can incorporate that into your premium. What is the regulatory capital requirement set by the regulator for annuity? So all of these things you need to analyze. You can also further check the level of inflation and interest in order to take your assumptions regarding expenses as well as the returns that you would receive on the invested pools of money. Okay, so that is the entire economic and commercial environment. Then you specify the problem. Now, what is the core reason for a problem here? See, what is it that you're trying to solve? So you're obviously trying to price and figure out the amount of level of capital or reserves that you need to maintain for these annuities, right? What are the sort of risks that you are taking? The customer is transferring the longevity risk to you, because insurer would be paying as long as the customer lives, right? It's a lifetime annuity. So if they live longer, their longevity risk is transferred to us, in the sense that if they live longer, we will have to continue to pay them at the same level. Customer has also transferred the investment risk, because currently whatever pool of money they would have had, they would be taking a certain investment risk on it. That is, they can receive higher level of return or lower level of return, right? But now they have a guaranteed income, right? No matter how the stock market or the bond market performs, like, they don't care, right? So all of that risk is now onto the insurer. They just collect a single premium and then they have to perpetually pay this customer. So both longevity and investment risk are major risks that we need to account for. And the problem is that we need to find a rate of annuity that is both profitable and competitive. So it has to be profitable in the sense that the premium needs to be sufficient to cover for the annuity payouts. So it needs to be profitable given the level of longevity or mortality that you expect and the rates of return that you expect. But it also needs to be competitive, because if you set the rates too low, then you are unprofitable and you will have to leave the market, right? You will suffer huge losses. If the rates are too high, you will be uncompetitive. That is, you will not get customers because your competitors are offering better rates, right? And both the risks in this case are very high because we don't have any experience of writing annuities. If we would have had experience, then that would have reduced our risk, right? Because we have seen how annuity markets function, right? And the real challenge here is that there is no prior in-house data for the product. So you do not know what is the nature of annuitants that would ultimately come to you, right? And for dealing with all of these problems, you really need to understand how the industry and functions and what are the rates that the competitors are offering, right? And what is the mortality that you expect in the cohort that comes to you. Now, in terms of developing a solution, you will have to build a profit testing model for future cash flows, right? In order to check the level of profitability. You need to cite your assumptions for mortality by illness type, because severely ill annuitants would be receiving a high level of annuity. You need to cite your assumptions for investment returns for expenses, and you need to discuss the mortality basis with the underwriters. Now, what is underwriting? Let me take a step back for a moment and explain underwriting to you in insurance. Underwriting means, in simple terms, checking the level of risk that you are taking with the people that you are selling the insurance policy to. So for this contract, when you're selling this annuity, right, when a certain life claims to be impaired, that is, let's say they have a stage 2 cancer, right? So they have a very high mortality, right? Because it can progress to stage 3 and 4, the cancer can spread and they can die very soon, right? So this is an impaired life. And for this impaired life, you have a certain level of annuity payment that you have planned, right, which is very high. So there is a team in the insurance company which is called as the underwriting team, which needs to make sure that the people who are getting this level of rate are sufficiently ill. That is, they have at least stage 2 level of cancer or, equivalent diseases with equally high mortality. So they need to ensure that the mortality of these people are high enough so that we can offer them such high annuity rates, and they will probably die very soon. Most of them would probably die very soon. If the underwriting team does not ensure this, that our mortality basis that we have assumed in pricing and the people who are coming into the cohort of annuitants, the people we are selling this policy to, if the mortality is very different, then this can lead to adverse outcomes for us. So the underwriting basis, the basis at which people are let into the policy cohort, the way the people are checked, right? This can be medical examinations, this can be checking their medical records, corresponding with their doctors, so on and so forth, right? All of that may be included depending on how high the level of mortality is and how high the annuity payout is, and what would be the expenses incurred for such an underwriting. But the trade-off you need to obviously account for, right? Like, you can't do a medical examination for every annuitant, right? That may be very expensive, right? So you need to see the cost of underwriting as well. But largely, what you need to ensure is that the people who are coming into this cohort must be consistent with the mortality basis that we have assumed in the pricing and the profit testing model. Okay. And finally, a solution would involve matching. That is, we need to find asset classes where the payouts from that asset class matches the predicted annuity outflows. That is, the rate of interest on, let's say we are investing in bonds, right? So the rate of return on that bond is sufficient to cover for the annuity payments exactly, right? So that you always have money to pay out these annuities, right? And the timing of these cash flows, when you receive the interest and when your annuity payments are due, they should also be consistent. For example, if your annuity payments are monthly, then you must take bonds that pay monthly interest at a similar level, right? So that is matching. Matching is in terms of amount and duration. Your assets should produce similar cash flows as your liabilities demand. Okay, so that is the idea, right? So that would be a solution, a profit testing model, taking the right sort of assumptions, right? Aligning those assumptions to the operational teams such as underwriting team, and ensuring that you are always solvent by matching assets and liabilities. This entails designing the entire product from an actuarial point of view, right? Calculating the premium that is sufficient, and also ensuring that the operational teams execute the product as you have designed it, and finally ensuring that solvency is maintained throughout through asset liability management. Okay. So this is the second step, that is development of solution. It won't just be pricing, because they had not talked just about pricing here. They had talked about designing this product. So designing this product would entail all of these steps, right? Now the third step, which is very important, is the monitoring step, because this is a new product. So we expect that there will be certain amount of discrepancy between our assumptions and reality. So what can this discrepancy be in terms of? First, mortality experience. So you need to compare your actual deaths versus assumed, especially in the critically ill or ill health categories, right? Because for those, anyway the payments are very high, so you need to ensure that the deaths are occurring as expected. Sufficient number of people have died so that, you know, I don't end up paying too much to the entire cohort, right? You have to allow the time for the data to build up, because you cannot act on a very small sample. So on early volatility may be very high, so maybe you need to take 6 months or a year or 2 years before you come to a certain conclusion. But you can delay this a lot as well, otherwise you will not be able to adjust your assumption and reprice your annuity, right? Sensitivity benchmarks. So when you realize that one of the set of assumptions, let's say relating to mortality or interest or expenses, has been different from what we expected it to be, you need to change the assumption in the model that you have developed, okay? Move it by that much as you observe it to be different. Let's say the interest has been 1% lower, the rate of return has been 1% lower, right? So you change it by 1% in your model and see if your profitability is matching with what the actual profitability is or not, right? So you would use sensitivity tests from stage 2 as benchmarks, right? You would just, you know, do a sensitivity test there, and you would have done this earlier. You would have seen this by changing the interest rate by 1%, what happens to the profitability. So how close is the actual experience to those modeled scenarios? When you modeled by changing 1% interest rate, when 1% interest rate actually changed, what is the level of difference in profitability in both of these scenarios is what you need to see, right? So you would realize that your modeling exercise, the sensitivity testing that you did as a part of it, how realistic was that sensitivity testing? Did you miss one lever or one aspect of the modeling where the change that you took in the model and the results it led to were not similar to what happened in the real world, right? So you also need to check if the model sensitivities are correctly modeled or not. Have you modeled all the transfer mechanisms properly or not, right? Then the next step is underwriting alignment, which is if you experience some divergence from the pricing assumptions, right? You set a premium at a certain level, but underwriters let such lives into the cohort which had a better or a worse mortality than what you expected it to be, you need to revise your underwriting criteria, right? You need to align the underwriters again. Look, you guys are letting less impaired lives into the cohort and giving them very high annuity levels or charging them very low premium rate, right? You need to stop doing this. You need to tighten the underwriting criteria, and you need to let only the sufficiently ill lives into my cohort of annuities, so that the lives that actually come have the same level of mortality as what I assumed originally while calculating the premium, right? That is the idea. So you need to check if underwriting is functioning properly or not and realign them, right? Then you need to see the competitor rates. What could have happened in this period since you modeled this product versus now that you are doing the monitoring and you are comparing reality versus your assumptions. In this meantime, competitors could have cut their rates, right? And our rates could have become uncompetitive. So, if that has happened, you need to revisit your rates and see if you can also make the product competitive again. If competitors have raised their rates, we may be undercharging and leaving margin on the table. If they are charging a higher rate and we are charging a lower premium, right? Then we say rates here, we mean premium, right? Here also we meant premium, right? When we said rates, right? Sometimes when you say rates in case of an annuity, you mean the level of annuity, and sometimes when you say rates, you mean the premium rate. So you need to make that distinction, right? When you are saying premium rate, actually it's ideal to write premium rates, right? So here you could have written premium rates are too low. If premium rates are too high, right? So if the premium rates were too low, you would be unprofitable. You are charging a low premium, and if the premium rate is too high, you are uncompetitive, right? So this sometimes this confuses people, right? In the material, you would notice in the acted material, they would have always referred to rates as the level of annuity rates. In case of annuities, at least they never refer to premiums, right? But like I have written it with respect to premium here, okay? So don't let that confuse you, right? So if the competitors cut the premium rates, our premium rates would become uncompetitive. If they raise the premium rates, then we may be undercharging the premium and leaving margin on the table. So you may need to increase the premium, right? Then so this is about, you need to observe the competitors behavior as well as a part of your monitoring exercise. You only need not compare your assumptions versus reality, also need to compare the reality in terms of what the competitors are doing, right? Then there is a pricing review trigger. If there is a significant deviation in your level of profitability than what you expected it to be, you suffered a severe loss or something like that, okay? Then you need to revise your assumptions and you need to rerun the profit test, right? And possibly change the level of premiums that you are charging or the reserving basis, right? So you need to make these changes when you see a significant deviation between what you assumed versus the reality. And a lot of times it may be impossible. You may realize at some point that it is impossible for the product to be profitable as well as competitive, right? It can't be both. When that is the case, if you set the premium too high, then nobody would come to you. If you set the premium too low, the market is just not profitable for you. You're not making money. So if it is impossible to make money, you will have to withdraw from this market and leave the annuity market. It is very important to know when to cut your losses, and these difficult decisions need to be taken, okay? This is your monitoring stage, and throughout you need to follow professionalism, which would be, you'll follow your actuarial standards, you will communicate the findings to underwriters and management very honestly and very clearly. Even if they are uncomfortable truths, you need to tell them, right? So that is the idea of how you apply the actuarial control cycle to designing an annuity product.